let's look at here. If you remember, we had created this program for student details. Now what we are going to do is, and remember we had enhanced it by adding one functionality of adding the marks of the student for maths and science. Now we are going to take care of the second enhancement request, that is save the information of the student in a disk file. Okay, now I have already done it, so let's go through it. We will not bother with the include as of now. We started off with iostream, conio.h, string.h and ctype.h. Let's go through the program and then we'll come back to it. Okay, this class remains the same. Student again remains the same. There is no changes, right? Everything remains the same. Resident student also remains the same. Okay, non-resident student also remains the same. Now let's come to main. Now here, if you notice, there are some changes. So here I have used a class, that is offstream, output file stream. So O for output, F for file, stream. Okay, so this is a built-in class. What I am doing is I am creating two objects of type output file stream. Okay, and this is there in this particular include statement, fstream.h. Okay, so that is why we require that particular include file. And here again, I have made some changes here. Non-resident student type of variable I am creating. So NRS, and in front of that I am using a pointer, right? We will come to pointers much more later on, but just remember that this is a variable which is going to hold a pointer. Pointer basically says that this particular variable is of special type. That means it doesn't actually hold a value, it holds the address of the value in which we are interested in, right? So NRS will contain the address of something else, and address means what? The memory location address. Okay, so we are creating a pointer to an object which is of type non-resident student. Similarly, RS is a pointer which points to a object of type resident student. Okay, so here I have just declared it. The object is still not there. We have just created two variables which are basically pointers. In this case, they are going to be object pointers. Now, what I am doing is I am creating a opening a file, right? Remember, R file I had declared as of type offstream. So R file dot open. Now this open function requires basically two arguments. One is the file name. Now this file name can include the complete path of the file. So C:\/ turbo C \/ that complete thing can be specified. Okay, and then the second argument is your in what manner should this file be opened. So it has to be opened in binary format and for output, right? It has to be opened for output, and this basically what we are doing is we are combining these two modes, right? So file mode this is called. So we are opening it in binary output mode. Okay, similarly I am opening the other file in which I have stored non-resident student details, right? So nr file dot open nrstud.txt, and I'm opening it in binary output mode. And of course, while 2 upper more equal to y. So basically, since this is a data entry thing, the user will keep on saying, yes, I want to add more student details. And when he says no, it will come out of this loop. Okay, clearing the screen, all this is perfectly fine. Now, here, if 2 upper stud type is equal to R, if the user has chosen to enter the details of the resident student, then what happens? Now you notice this is RS is what? RS is of type is a pointer, right? So here what I'm saying is RS is equal to new resident student. So an object is going to be created which is going to be of type resident student, right? Resident student, and naturally as part of the creation of that object, the constructor gets called, right? But importantly, the address of that object is stored in this pointer in RS. So RS will contain the object pointer. Okay. This I have replaced this previous code with this new code because I wanted to show you how to open a file, how to create object pointers, and how to destroy the object pointers. So I wanted to show you that. So that's why I have commented these 2 lines and I am using pointers. Okay. So now as part of the constructor call, what happens? As you have seen in the previous, all these statements will get executed. Enter the hostel number, enter the student name, parent address, and depending on whether it's a resident student or non-resident student, the other details will be accepted. Okay. So constructor call happens as part of the data entry happens, and then the object ends up with all the relevant information. And then what am I doing? I am saying rfile dot write rs, which is the pointer, comma size of. See here, for write function there are 2 arguments we have to pass. One is the address, right? One is the address, and the other is for how many bytes is going to be the data that is going to be written. So the write function really doesn't bother about the roll number, name, and all that. It just basically takes the number of bytes. It just takes that and writes it. Okay. So it requires a pointer and it requires the number of bytes. Now RS is of type object pointer, and remember, write doesn't care about the data as such. It only requires a pointer. So we have to convert it into a character pointer. So what we are doing here is we are converting this object pointer into a character pointer. So the pointer to the first byte. Okay, and then what it does is, based on the size of, it will write that many number of characters in this R file using this R file handle. Okay, the size of function again basically returns the size in number of bytes of the variable that you pass it, or the type you pass it. Here I am not passing the object, I am passing the class specification itself, because the class specification, based on the class specification only the object is created. And once it has been written, I am deleting the RS. So the pointer is being deleted, because in the next time we repeat this loop, a new object gets created. Okay, similarly for non-resident student, everything remains the same as I just explained. NRS equal to new non-resident student, nr file dot write delete nrs, and if he enters something other than r or n, it will display a message. Okay, and then finally we should not forget to close the files. R file dot close and R file dot close. Okay, so that is how you store the student details in the disk. Now remember, if you're going to use a database or something like that, that's a totally different case. Okay. Yes, so now that we have looked at this program, let's run this. Okay, resident or non-resident, let's say resident. Enter roll number 111, name, let's say Vishwa, let's say Nath, right? Parent address, let's say Raghavendra, layout, right? Telephone, let's say 888888, subject maths, enter the marks, let's say 89, science, say 90, hostel number, let's say 2, hostel fees, let's say 3999, enter the hostel room number 23. Any more students? Yes. Okay, again resident, roll number 222, enter the name, let's say Deepak, parent name Disha, parent address Milk Colony, just something so that we can check it out. Enter the subject maths, let's say 78, subject science 87, hostel number, let's say 1, hostel fees 4999, 34, and let's say no. Okay, so now since we have not written the program for reading, let's actually go to DOS shell, dir.txt. See, we have not entered any student details for non-residential students, so it is 0 bytes. For RStud, we have entered some details, so that is why it is showing it as 294 bytes. Okay, so type, let's type it Vishwa Nath, Math, Science, Disha, Milk Colony. Yes. Okay, so it has actually stored it in the file. Okay, so that shows that we have actually stored the details in the file. Okay, so let's save this, let's close this and quit.